So in triangle DEF, they tell us that DE equals 5, angle D equals 80, and FE equals 8. One of the things that I recommend to students to connect your mind to what we did at the beginning is when an angle is given, make that angle in the same place that we had the 30-degree angle when we did that activity to begin with. It will help you visualize it because it connects to an experience you already have. So if I have this, I mean, you can draw your triangle turned any way possible, but sometimes turning things in your head just makes it harder to understand. So if I make angle D here, then that's 80 degrees. DE, this is the one that I'm going to label as 5, because again, in the example that we did at the beginning, we labeled that top side, and we left the bottom to be any length possible. We know that E to F is equal to 8. So look at this situation. Is this the situation where there's only going to be one answer? Or is this the situation where there might be two answers or no answers? Could you draw this 8 this way? No. So since the side opposite the angle is longer, than the adjacent side, there's only one triangle. Now we're going to find that when we do solve for it using sine. Okay? So we showed that only one triangle can be drawn. Solve this triangle. When a question says solve a triangle, you have to find everything. We need to find all the sides and all the angles. As far as figuring out what we can solve for first, I want you to notice that we have, take highlighter out, this 80 and this 8 will go together. As far as figuring out what I can solve for next, can you see that since I have this 5, it would go with this angle? I cannot solve the other ones next. The only thing I have to work with is the yellow and the green. And there's one thing I don't know, so I can make my equation. The first thing I can figure out is F. So sine of F over, well, the green goes with the green, so it would be over 5, equals sine of 80 over 8. And here you can multiply both sides by 5. And you would get sine F equals 5, sine 80 over 8. So what did I do there? I multiplied this side by 5 and this side by 5. My 5 simplified on the left, leaving me with this. If I type this into my calculator, and then part 2, so if I type that into my calculator, I get 0.61, 0.6155. Okay, I notice that this is positive, so according to my CAST rule, my possibilities for answers will be in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Can you see that it will never, for sine law, it'll never be negative? Because if you had an answer in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4, it'd be like over 180 degrees. That would be impossible for a triangle already. Because the three angles in the triangle have to add up to 180. So you couldn't have one of them be more than 180. Now it's positive, so the possibilities here are that it could be in quadrant 1 or in quadrant 2. We can label our reference angle, so that would be an F with a little r, F with a little r. This would be angle F.
Sorry for the interruption. All semester 1 hockey students, Hockey Academy students, please make your way down to the lobby. That's first semester Hockey Academy students, please make your way down to the lobby.
So sine of our reference angle will be identical to sine of our actual angle. Okay. And we can find our reference angle by doing sine inverse and we get to the nearest degree, 38 degrees. So can you see that here, angle F would be 38 degrees, or 180 minus 38, which is 142 degrees. But we already knew that there was only going to be one answer for the triangle. Okay? I like to show this to remind you, you still have to use your CAS rule and see all of your angles. But this 142 we can put X through, because based on our picture, there's no way that that green angle can be 142. The only possibility is that it is 38 degrees. And I wrote it in purple to show that we solved for that. Okay? And I'm going to put a little number 1 beside that because we solved for that first. So if you're looking at this later, you realize I solved for that first. We need to solve this whole triangle. Can you see that you can solve for something now? Right? We have two of the angles. As soon as you have two of the angles, you can find a second. Because it has to add up to 180. These two angles already add up to 118. Makes this 62 degrees. And now that I have that 62 degrees, this 62 degrees would go with this opposite side. So angles and opposite sides always go together. Can you see that you can now use your sine law again and find the last side? I want to find the last side. That last side would be little e. And I could write my sine law out for little e. That little e, I'll put that on top because that's what I'm solving for, over sine of 62 degrees is equal to, and now I can choose either the yellow pair or the green pair to go with it. Technically, the yellow pair is better because the yellow pair, those ones are written in black. Those ones were ones we were given originally, so we know that they're exact. The purple pair, the green highlighted ones, the 38 we rounded, so it's not perfect. So it's better to use the yellow pair. So I go back down here and I say, well, the yellow pair has an 8 and a sine 80. So I can solve for e, multiply both sides by sine 62. These would simplify. 8 sine of 62 divided by sine of 80. And I get e is 7.17. So I go back up to my triangle. I'll label that. What I like you to do in these questions is when they say solve the triangle completely, you should have one triangle where you're going to label everything. So you would know that you're not done until you have labeled that side to be 7.2 centimeters. I should add my centimeters units to my other ones as well. And now we have solved this completely. So we needed to use the sine law twice. Okay? We recognized early that there was only one answer, but when we solved for side F, we found out why there was only one answer. The second angle of 142 degrees just didn't make sense. Okay, so questions to circle on this one are 7, part I only, 10, and 11.